I want to share a couple of important things. Coming up on March the 4th, we're going to have baptisms here at the church. We know that there are at least two or three children that are going to be baptized, and I think there's possibly some adults that may want to do that as well. If you're interested in being baptized, please just let one of our pastors know, and we'll set that up. We've got the nice baptism back here. It'll be full of water, and it's warm. So it's not like, maybe you remember when you were a kid and they threw you in a cold river. It's warm. It'll be heated, so it's really kind of nice. So, but it's important that we do that. So I want you to know about that and be here that day too. Baptisms are always special to see what God has done in people's lives. With that being said, I'm going to ask you guys to stand, and we're going to go ahead and worship this morning. We are really thankful and grateful to have Miss Chaston Dobbs back with us again today to lead us in worship. Yep. And so we're excited to have a little announcement at the end of the service, so we'll talk about that then. But we're here to worship Jesus, and so we're just so grateful. He's so good. He's so faithful. No matter how much I mess up or how hateful I am or how many times I fail him, he still comes back and hugs me and loves me and forgives me, dusts me off, and he's just so faithful. Isn't he? Isn't he faithful? So let's just worship him today. Father, we thank you that we're able to come into your presence today. We ask you, God, to pour out your Spirit in this place in a way that is undeniable as we lift you up. In your name we pray. Amen. I have a message, but I can't help but mention what we all know has happened this week with this awful school shooting, where 17 people lost their lives. We came in here Wednesday night, and it was an exciting night. We had a wedding in here Wednesday night. If you weren't here, it was awesome, and it was really cool. But we came in here knowing what had happened, and it was just awful. And it's still awful. And you can't explain it other than there's just evil in the world, When you can't politicize it, you can't make sense of it. There's just evil in the world, right? And it's just evil. Can we just agree, at least agree with that? But there are people that have lost loved ones today. It's just awful. Our country is so divided, isn't it? But there are people that have lost their lives today. And there may be people that that maybe you've lost people this week or recently, and you're hurting. We just can't we can't forget that there are people all around us that are hurting and have been hurt. And the answer to those hurts is Jesus Christ, and only him. There's just no other answer, y'all. I mean, I know I'm the preacher, I know I'm the pastor, and that's what I'm supposed to say, but I'm just telling you, there is no other answer. And so I just want to ask you to be real with God today, and he'll be real with you. He's a loving Father. He's not mad at you. I ran from God for years and years and years. And I felt like if I ever walked into a church, lightning was going to strike me, or I was going to get smited, whatever that meant. I don't know if you've ever felt that way, but I felt that way. And if I ever got around Christian people, I got really uncomfortable, and I just felt like, God doesn't love me because I've done so much wrong. And my mindset was so wrong. That's not the way God is. God is loving. He's loving beyond description. And he loves those. He even loves that shooter. I know that's like, really? No way. Yeah, he does. He didn't intend for some guy to go down that road, and to take lives. But I'm telling you, life is precious. And we may not have another minute. We don't know. And I don't want to miss the opportunity to tell you and ask you, get real with God today. He's real. No matter what the culture would try to tell you, he's real and he loves you. And he wants to have a personal relationship with you today. That's enough of that sermon. I normally do not call people out in the church, and the reason I don't call people out is because if I call out one person for something, then I'm expected to call everybody out. I will never call anybody out publicly and tell them happy birthday. I've had people ask me to do that. I'm not going to do that, even if it's my birthday. Not going to happen, because then if you miss somebody, their feelings are hurt. So we just don't do it for anybody. But I have to acknowledge a miracle. I have to acknowledge a miracle. We've seen miracles in this church, haven't we? I'm a miracle, in case you didn't know it. I was a dead guy, and I came back to life. I'm a miracle. But we have a tangible miracle in the house today. Kenneth Dunson is back in church today. That I truly believe about 3 weeks ago was days away from death. Didn't want to say it, but we all kind of thought it, didn't we? And the guy is on his way to complete 100% healing. Glory to God. Thank you, Jesus. So, yeah, not about you, Kenneth. It's all about Jesus. And it's always going to be about him. So anyway, we're going to get on with the message today. We're in the third part of our Invincible Marriage series, and it's been great. I've enjoyed it. I really think, it's important. And for some of you might say, well, I'm too young to be married. I don't want to be married and don't even want to think about marriage. These principles are really good for you, even if you're not married. If you go back to the very first one and watch it, it really deals about who you are as a person and who can meet your deepest needs, and that's only Jesus. And it affects every relationship you have, married or not. It really does. So I encourage you to go back and listen to those sermons. But there's an old rabbinical story about two brothers that worked this granary. And the two brothers lived close to each other, but on opposite sides of the granary. One brother was married, one brother was single. And as the story goes, at night, the married brother, feeling like his single brother who didn't have a family to take care of him and provide for him in his old age, would sneak out, go to the granary, and take extra grain and deposit it into his brother's house. And the single brother, every night, would go thinking about, I'm single, I have enough. My brother is trying to feed his whole family. I'm going to take some of my grain and at night go deposit it into my married brother's deposit. And one night, after doing this every night for years, they met each other as the other was taking the grain to their brother, caring about the other one more than he did himself. And I think what a great picture of marriage. Two servants that would rather take care of their spouse rather than themselves. What a great story, and that's how God is for us. But that's how a great marriage looks. And this statement I read in this book called Sacred Marriage, where the story comes from, it says, this is a holy place. They were looking for a place to build the temple of God. And it says, the holy place is that spot where God is made known to his people, the place where human beings discover each other in love. And as the story goes, the legend goes, that's where they decided to build the temple, because that's where love godly love was found. Isn't that a cool story? 2 Corinthians chapter 5:9 says, we make it our goal to please him, God, whether we're at home in the body or away from it. We talked about the needs that only Jesus could meet a couple of weeks ago, but today we're going to talk about the needs that each other can meet, that you can meet in your spouse. And this is, for you guys that are single, this is good information for the future. The truth is that every couple falls in love the same way. We fall in love by serving each other. We fall in love by prioritizing the other one over ourselves. We fall in love by doing for the other rather than doing for ourselves. Every couple falls in love that way. And the truth is every couple falls out of love the same way. We quit doing for the other. We start prioritizing ourselves instead of our spouse. We start getting selfish and lazy and deciding, I'm going to do for myself and you can settle for yourself. You can get what you need on your own. We fall out of love the same way. And Donna and I experienced that as well. But there are things about needs that you need to understand. Yes, there are needs that only Jesus can meet, but we're going to talk about the needs that you can meet in each other's today. Many years ago, there was a popular book. It's still out. It's a great book for couples called The 5 Love Languages. Anybody ever heard of it? Maybe read it? Gary Chapman wrote that book. Great book. And basically you determine what are your love languages, what speaks love to you. And my wife Donna, who is here today and awesome, her love languages are acts of service and quality time, which means I serve her for long periods of time. All of us have a love language. And we have certain things that that speak love to us and certain things that don't. I'm going to pay for that one probably later. We all have what Gary Thomas calls a love bank. And whether you know it or not, there are people in your life, spouse or not, just people, random, relationships that you have that either make deposits into your love bank or they make withdrawals out of your love bank. So let's just imagine you meet a friend and you're a person and you develop a friendship and they're really kind to you and they want to do things with you. And as they're kind to you, a deposit is made into your love bank. And it doesn't have to be a romantic kind of love. It doesn't have to be a spouse. It could just be a friend. And so I have good friends. You all have good friends and people that you like being around. But let's imagine you're around somebody who is always negative and hateful and insulting. That person is always making withdrawals out of your love bank, right? And you don't want to be around that person because you feel, what? Drained. Isn't there some people that you just feel drained around? It's like when I'm around them, it's like they suck the life out of me, right? They are withdrawing out of your love bank without putting any deposits into your love bank. And if you want to be around people that put deposits into your love bank, so you just feel better when you're around them, right? This is just life. This has nothing to do with marriage. It's just the way it is. We love to be around the people that make us feel better about ourselves, don't we? We love to be around those people. And if you get enough deposits into your love bank, especially when it comes to the opposite sex, somebody that you're possibly dating at the time, you get to the point where you go, you know what? This person fills my love bank so much that I don't think I need anybody else. I think this person can so fill me up that I have no other needs for any other people. Isn't that? And then you get to the point where you go, I think I want to be with this person for the rest of my life. I want to spend the rest of my life with them. Isn't that a great time? Some of you can remember when you had that time when you spent time together and you got to that point, you're like, I want to be with this person for the rest of my life. I remember when that happened for Donna and I. It was a monumental moment for me because I had been wounded before. Many of you have too. I finally began to trust women again. And she was meeting my needs, and it was awesome. And then reality hit. We got married. And the first 2 years of our life were terrible. Why? Because we had each other. I got her, she got me. Pray for her. I think she was on drugs at the time. I'm not sure. No, she wasn't. I'm just kidding. I don't know what happened, but somehow I convinced her to take me home. It was like a little puppy, I think. She just felt sorry for me. I was on the side of the road shivering and all skinny, I don't know. But it was awful. You know why? Because we got so selfish and started just taking care of ourselves and not caring about the other one. But I'm going to tell you, no matter where you are in your relationship today, if you would go back and watch the first two messages and this one and do everything you hear, I promise you, you'll have a great marriage. If we stopped right here and you just do these three things, you'll have a great marriage. Even if you failed in marriage, I promise you'll have a great marriage. Do it God's way and you'll have a great marriage. So I want to talk about the needs of a man and a woman. 4 basic needs of a man. First one, every man you know, honor and respect. This is true for every man you know. Your sons, your grandsons, your fathers, your brothers, your bosses, your employees, every man you know, their greatest need in general terms. Now, I know some men might say, no, that's not really my greatest need. But in general terms, every man's greatest need is honor and respect. Psalm 100, verse 4 says, enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him, bless his name. Psalm 22:3 says, you are holy, enthroned on the praises of Israel. Ephesians 5:22 says, wives, submit to your own husbands as to the Lord. Why is this such a big need? Because we are made in God's image. We're made in God's image. We crave it. We crave to be praised and honored and respected. Women too, don't get me wrong. This is not just for men. Women need honor and respect as well, right? Ladies, can I get some amens from you ladies? But men, it's a deep need. It's not just a want for us. We have to have it. Just like the scripture says that you cannot enter into God's courts without praising him. God never lets a negative person into his intimate courts. He never does. Now, negative people can come to church, right? You've known some negative people in church. Let's be honest. Sometimes some negative people have come into this church. None of you guys, but some have. But you cannot enter into God's intimate presence without praising Him, without giving Him glory and giving Him credit. It's the same way for men. We're never going to let you but so close if you're negative and critical of us all the time. We have to have respect. Listen, when Donna and I were going through the worst time in our marriage, the thing that set me off more than anything else was this one issue. When she would disrespect me, and she didn't even know she was doing it. She didn't even realize she was doing it. And I would get so mad, and I didn't even know why I was so mad until we heard this teaching, and I was like, that's why I get so upset, is because I feel disrespected. And she would say, well, I'm just telling the truth. It doesn't matter what you say, it's how you say it. Are you saying it with respect? Are you saying it in my language where I need respect? I need to hear respect and honor. I honor you, I respect you, or I just tune it out. Doesn't matter what you're saying, if it's true or not. If all I hear is disrespect, dishonor, it's like blocking. I can't hear. All men are the same way. So how do you do that? You don't do it like your mother did your father. That's not your example. Maybe you had a great mother and father. Your mother treated your father well. Maybe you didn't. Either way, that's not your example. Hopefully it was good. Hopefully it was positive. But you treat him like you would treat Jesus. Ladies, I know what you're thinking. He's nothing like Jesus, Mark. Have you met my husband? Yes, I have met your husband. I agree. He's nothing like Jesus. But listen, if you want him to be the man that you want him to be, you treat him like Jesus before he gets there. Psalm 31 talks about the man that was the gate at the elder of the city, but it gives praise to his wife. His wife so bragged on him, so lifted him up, so gave him respect that he ended up being elder at the gates of the city because of her treatment of him. Let me tell you something, ladies. The more you brag on your husband, he may have one thing that he does right, and only one thing. It may be that the only thing he does right is button his pajamas correctly. There's 3 buttons on pajamas, and he got it right. Your dad is the best at putting on pajamas of anybody I've ever seen. He buttons them up perfectly every single time. It's amazing what he does. Listen, you do that, he'll live in his pajamas. He'll just be walking around, you know. That's the way it is. You brag on us, we'll just knock ourselves out for you. I'm telling you, it's just high. Speak destiny. Listen, speak destiny over your husband. Mothers, speak destiny over your sons. You're a good son. Listen, he may have done everything wrong. He may be doing everything wrong now. I believe in you. It doesn't matter what's going on in your life right now. I know God is going to do something amazing in your life. He's setting you up for greatness. I see the brilliant. You have a smart mind. You're a natural leader. I see things that God's going to do. You don't even see it yet, and I know you're going to be an amazing man of God. Speak destiny over your sons. Should have got a lot of amens out of that. I'm telling you, you got to do that. You brag on them. Dr. Phil says you got to give 99 attaboys before you give one negative comment. That's not a spiritual comment. I'm just saying. It's just the truth. People respond to compliments. They don't respond to negativity, but it's critical. And you got to cover his faults and focus on his strengths. That doesn't mean if your husband is doing destructive things in the family that you just go, oh, it's okay. He's not, yeah, he burnt the house down, but it's all right. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying publicly, you brag on him in public. If you got a problem, you take it behind closed doors. And that's when you say, listen, I believe in you. You're a good man, but you got to quit doing this. You got to stop doing the kids need you. I need you. You got to quit drinking so much. You got to quit doing this, doing that, whatever it is. But in public, you brag on him like Facebook. Man, Facebook ought to be your billboard to brag on your husbands. It really should. It's critical. All right, second need for men is sex. This is no big secret. 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 3 says, the husband should fulfill his marital duty to his wife, and likewise the wife to her husband. Here's the thing. Men need it. Women, you have the gift of sex. Men have the need for sex. And this is general terms. Men are generally more sexual than women. It's just the truth. And men need it more than women do. In general terms, I'm talking about marriage here. You just have to accept it as normal. When you first get married, I get it. I know this makes people a little uncomfortable, but it's just the truth. You know, you might think he's a pervert. It's like, really? Again? Like, it's just last week, and now you're again? You're a pervert? What is it? I'm just saying, it's just normal for men. That's just the way men are. You have to accept it as normal. Don't shame him. Don't shame him. And men are visual. We like to see our wives' bodies with no clothes on them. It's just the truth. We like to see that. And most women are ashamed of their bodies. And no man should ever compare his wife's body to anyone else, ever. Yeah, ever. Right, ladies? Come on. Let me get some amens from the ladies. It's absolutely true. You should never do that. My wife is hotter now than she's ever been. She's the most beautiful woman in the world to me. And she needs to hear that on a regular basis. I won't go any farther than that because it'll make her nervous and me too. But but listen, we love a naked cheerleader. We love cheerleaders and we want them to have no clothes on. And I'm just saying, I'm not being out of line here. I'm saying our spouses, right? They brag on us. We love to see their bodies. That's just the way it is. I'm going to move on, and it's really quiet in here. The third most basic need for a man is recreational companionship. Recreational companionship. We just want a friend. We want you to be our friend. We want to do stuff together. Whatever it is. Maybe it's sports. Maybe your husband likes to play sports. Maybe he likes to go hunting, fishing, whatever. Whatever it is that your husband loves to do, he wants you to be his friend. You fell in love doing things together. When I've told this before, when Donna and I were dating, we used to go to the races together. She didn't care. She didn't care about going to the racetrack, but she knew I liked it, and she went to be with me. Listen, your husband will never open up to you more than when you're having fun together. I promise you. You might say, listen, I tried it one time, it didn't work. Do it over and over and over again. I promise you, if you do things to have fun with him, you become his recreational companion, he will open up to you. You'll never get more of his heart when you're having fun together. The fourth one is domestic support. This simply means that women have the gift of turning a house into a home. Now, a lot of men think, listen, I work outside the home, and when I come home, dinner should be cooked, and the house should be clean, and kids should be quiet and all that. Listen, I don't know what century you live in, but it's not that way anymore. And it probably should have never been that way. When you get home from your job, men, your job just began. Your real job begins at home, being the husband and father, being the loving initiator of the well-being of the household. That's when your job really starts. Right, ladies? I'm giving you guys, I'm like setting it up for you to just knock it out of the park. I'm telling you, but besides sex and friendship, marriage is just a business relationship. It's about negotiation. And here's the other thing, and I know women think, well, men are so weird. We are. If you're both the same, one of you is unnecessary. If we married our duplicate, one of us is unnecessary. I need somebody totally different than me, and so do you. So let's move on to the women. 4 basic needs of a woman. First one is security. Ephesians 5:21 says, submit to one another out of reverence for Christ. Husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her, to make her holy, cleansing her by the washing with water through the word, and present her to himself as a radiant church, without stain or wrinkle or any other blemish, but holy and blameless. In the same way, husbands ought to love their wives as their own bodies. Listen, for most women, generally speaking, their first need is security. And men think, well, as long as I make enough money, she'll be secure. That's part of it, but that's really not the biggest part of it. The biggest part of your wife's need for security is to know that she has a selfless, sacrificial man that will do anything to take care of her and provide for her and protect her. The thing that makes a woman feel most secure is the character of her husband. It's not how good looking he is or how much money he makes. It doesn't matter how big your muscles are or how big your waistline is. If you have character and integrity, that feeds a woman's need for security more than anything else. Am I right? I'm telling you, and I had it wrong. I thought as long as I worked out and I was strong and I could beat up the next guy, or if I could make enough money, she would always feel secure. None of that ever worked. What worked for her was when I started putting myself behind her and taking care of her. Yes, physically. She needs to know I'm going to protect her. If we're walking down the street and somebody walks up, She don't have to worry about me running away. I'm going to stand up, and I might get my butt beat, but I'm going to do whatever I can to protect her. To my hurt, I'm going to take care of her. But it's the character of a man that makes her feel secure. And you've got to support her. She's not there to just do everything for you. You're there to support her and help raise her up into the woman that God created her to be as well. Communicate security. Communicate in the language of security to her. See, I never did this with Donna. I had it so wrong. I never understood it. When we would fight, which was daily, early on in our marriage, sometimes many times a day, sometimes all day long. It was like we didn't have many fights. We had one fight that went all day. Some of you probably don't know what I'm talking about, but that's how our lives were for a while. And I would get upset. I would get mad. Maybe I felt disrespected. Maybe I'd done something wrong, but I would get mad and I would leave. I would get in my truck and just drive away, or get on my motorcycle and drive away. I wouldn't say bye. I wouldn't tell her where I was going or when I was coming back, because I just didn't want to deal with it. What I did not realize was I was ripping out from under her the legs of security. I was telling her, you're not important, and I could leave on a moment's notice and never come back. There was no security. There was no security for her in that time. I didn't understand it. I didn't realize it. I didn't know how to deal with it. I was ignorant. And I'm just telling you, when we heard this teaching and I realized what my actions of leaving the house was doing to her, I never did it again. It doesn't matter. It didn't matter how mad I got, how much she disrespected me. Now, I might say, listen, I need a break, and I'll go to the basement, or I'll go out to the shop, but I'm not leaving the property, okay? I'm committed to staying in this relationship. I need a break, or I'm going to punch a hole in the wall, or you kick the dog, or something, but I'm not leaving. I'm in this for the long haul. I'm not going anywhere. And when I started doing that, she felt secure. She felt secure. The second need that women have, a wife needs, woman needs, is non-sexual affection. Non-sexual affection. Now, listen, men, I get it. We don't understand this. Ladies, we don't understand it. We don't get it. Like, your wife comes to you and says, would you hold me? And you're like, would I hold you? She wants me. Right? And who can blame her, right? I mean, I get it. Let's go. And she's like, no, I just want you to hold me. Can't you just hold me? And no funny business. Just hold me. And I'm like, no, I don't understand it. I don't have that need. See, I don't have that need to be held. Well, sometimes Tom, but most of the time I just don't have that need to be held. But a woman, it's a great need, and we need to understand this. Listen, if you could just sometimes hold her hand, sit on the couch, put your arm around her, you don't have to say anything. That just meets that need of non-sexual affection. And the funny thing is, and don't do it for motivation, the weird thing is, the more non-sexual affection you show her, the more sexual she becomes. Now listen, I know for men, you're thinking, hey, that's the key. Nope. No motivation, no agenda. Just selfish. I want to meet your need for non-sexual affection. I want to make you feel valued. And that's what it does. Non-sexual affection to a woman communicates value. You're more important than my need for sex. You're more important. I'm going to put your need over mine. It ticks all these boxes. Third need is communication. Communication. And listen, this is open, honest, transparent communication, not headlines, right? I didn't ever understood this either. This is why God makes us so different. We're so different. I don't like to talk much, right? And you're like, well, you're a pastor, you're a preacher, you speak every Sunday. Listen, when I'm at home, I'm like, I'm fine doing that. Seriously. I didn't understand it. I would get home from work and Donna would say, how was your day? And I'm like, fine. Who'd you see? Nobody. What'd you do? Nothing. She's the nosiest woman I ever met in my life. She wants to know everything about my day. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. But I didn't understand. It's a need that she has. And I didn't have that need. Ladies, it may be wise for you to give your husband 30 minutes to decompress, maybe. Give him a little bit of time. I would get home, get a cup of coffee, sit there and just veg out for a little bit, let some of the stress of the day just kind of wind down, and then I could talk about my day. That's what worked for us. It may not work for you, but you got to be wise. It's negotiation. That's the whole thing. It's negotiation, what works for you. But you've got to be willing to give her details. And don't say that I can't talk. I'm not a talker. You talk to your friends all day long. Right? Happy Daytona Day, guys. Anybody know what today is? It's Daytona Day, right? We start talking about racing or trucks or fishing or hunting, we'll talk all day long, won't we? We can talk about that kind of stuff all the time. We can talk. We talk a lot. You talk to her. She's got a need for it. And it needs to come from you, not somebody else. That's how affairs happen, guys. I'm telling you, you don't talk to her, she goes to work, she's got some guy that wants to talk. Right? He's just the most sensitive. He listens to me, you know, right? That's how that stuff happens. That's how it begins. It's innocent, but she has a need, and you are the one that needs to meet that need. It's as important to her as sex is to you. You've got to meet that need, and you've got to talk more than you feel like talking. I'm telling you, you got to do this. It's gotten to where the point now that I love talking to Donna more than anybody else. I love spending time with her. I want to spend time. I want to talk to her. For a long time, it felt like it was so awkward and so weird, but now it's like, it's not weird. It's great. I love talking to her. But women, I want to give you a little bit of hint, and this is kind of going ahead to probably next week. We're going to talk about communicating a little bit more next week. But listen, when you get to that point that your husband will talk to you, and he will share with you. See, men share in a safe environment. We need a safe environment to share with you our deepest needs, our deepest feelings. We need to know that it's not going outside of that. We have to know that. If you ever share anything that we shared with you, we'll close ourselves off. We won't talk anymore. We won't open ourselves up anymore. You can't shame us, and you sure can't spread it out on Facebook or to your friends. And listen, and Donna doesn't mind me telling you this was a huge mistake she made. We would get in a group of people, and she would just start telling people about, Mark did this, or Mark said this, or Mark did that, and it was like, really? And I was just humiliated. And to her, to women, you don't get that, because a bunch of women get together, and y'all just talk about everything. And it doesn't bother you, right? It doesn't bother you. But for us, we're not like that. We need safe. I want you to be my safe place where no matter what I share with you, nobody, not your mama, not your best friend, not even the pastor, is going to hear it from you. Nobody. It's safe. That's the environment we need. Don't ever share what he shares with you. And man, you just need to talk more. That's all there is to it. And it's true that women talk more than men. We understand that. It's been proven that little children, little kids, you know, girls talk all the time. They're just blah, 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 blah. Anybody got little girls or had little girls, right? It's all the time. Talk, 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 talk. Boys, what do? We're just, we just make noises. Boys don't talk. Girls talk 3 times more than boys do. 3 times more. But listen, man, you can learn to talk. You can talk to your buddies. You talk at work. You can talk to her. She needs it. All right, the last one is leadership. Need of a woman, leadership. This is not dominant. This means the loving initiator of the well-being of the home. That you lead in the matters that are most important, men. This is, again, let me make it clear. Early in Genesis chapter 2, when God created man and woman, there was never a reference to who was the boss. There was never a reference to the man being the boss. They were equal. They were one. The scripture says when God has joined together, they become one flesh. One. There was never a reference to who's the boss. And if you have one or the other in the house that is the boss, you're out of order. I'm just telling you. I'm not always the most popular guy. Everybody loves Donna, and not everybody loves me, but I'm going to tell you the truth. There is no boss in the family. Ephesians 5:21 says, submit to one another. Before it ever says, wives, submit to your husbands, it says, submit to one another in reverence of love, in Christ, a reverence of Christ. Nobody's the boss. You're partners. But she needs the leadership. And you need to be the leader in the major things. Raising the children. In finances, yes, you need to be a good money provider. You need to lead that. You need to lead the area of romance. And especially you need to be the leader spiritually in the home. Men, you are called to be the leader of the home spiritually. Do you initiate devotional times? Do you initiate prayer? Do you initiate going to church? Listen, no wife should ever have to drag her husband to church. Men, you should be the one getting up and say, all right, kids, let's get up. Time to go to church. We're going to be in the house of the Lord today. You need to learn to pray with your wife. This was so hard for me. I know you see me now, but you didn't see me 25 years ago. This was so hard for me. I felt so awkward, and I would hear preachers pray these, like fancy prayers, and I was like, I can't pray like that guy. My prayers are like, God, help me. That works. That works. That works. God, I don't know what to pray. Just need your help. But if you lead it, man, I'm telling you, ladies, I know this is your heart right now. She's going to be so connected to you. Man, that's what I want. Donna wanted that from me more than anything else I ever could do for her. She wanted me to lead spiritually. And it's the way it's supposed to be. I ask you to stand, and we're going to close. Here's the thing about it. God's message is reconciliation. That He took a broken relationship and made a way for us to come back together. I don't know where you are right now in your relationship, whether married or in a relationship with someone, maybe the future down the road you're thinking about being married. I'm telling you, you need to focus on who you are, not who your spouse is not. God created us as men and women separately, totally different, so that we would have to go outside of ourselves to meet needs that we could not meet on our own. He was so brilliant in that He made us that way, so that the only way we could be one and be the person that we're supposed to be is to have to go outside of ourselves to have those needs met. It's awesome. And for many of you want to have a great relationship, and you'd say, well, my spouse is really difficult to love. I get that. Maybe we make it difficult for our spouse to love us. But if you're married and you're in this place right now, I want to talk to you for just a second as we close. If you truly want to love God more, I'm going to ask you to look down at the ring on your finger. Just look at the ring on your finger if you're married, whether you're with your spouse or not, and make a commitment to go back and live your life based on what that ring meant when you put it on your finger. It doesn't matter what you've done wrong. You can start over right now. The scripture says in Revelation 2 that God says, you guys are doing great. Your church is doing great. You're doing great things for people. You're not tolerating heresy. You're doing all these things, but I have one thing against you. You've forgotten your first love. And He says the way to get that first love back is to go back and do the things that you did at the beginning. And God can restore that love. You guys that are single, I want to challenge you. The culture would tell you got to do all kinds of things that go against you and against your nature. If you could commit yourself to becoming the person that God wants you to be right now and continue to live that way, I promise you, God will put the perfect person in your life when the time is right. It will happen. I heard a message one time talking to single people, and it talked about, it's a great message, talking about the person that I want to be married to, that every single person has a perfect picture of that person they want to be married to, right? Tall, short, rich, good looking, whatever, good character, great integrity, has a job, does this, does that. We've all got a picture of that person that we want to be married to. The person you're looking for. But as a single person, I want to commit you to become the person that the person you're looking for is looking for. That if that perfect person that you are looking for was looking for you, would they look at you and go, that's the one? And if right now you'd say, no, that person probably wouldn't want to be with me, you can become that person. And I want to challenge you to become that person today. These are God's principles. These are not mine. These are God's principles. But if you want to have a great relationship, these are the ways you do it. So I want to pray for you, and then I'm going to let you go. Father, I thank you for your word. God, for some of us, this is hard. For some of this, it's like scratching at a sore, and it's like rubbing a sunburn with sandpaper. It's really hard for us. For many of us, we have made so many mistakes doing this. For some of us, we made those mistakes today. We didn't do it right even this morning before we came here. But God, I'm so thankful that you are so full of grace that you always forgive us. But God, your plan is not to leave us like we are. So I pray for all of us, God, that we would take your word, that we would hide it in our heart, that we would do it, that we wouldn't just be hearers of your word, but that we would do it. God, today, as we've been given some practical tools, I pray that you would help us put it into practice so that our marriages would be better. Whether we're married today or not, we can start becoming that person that we need to be. And God, for marriages that have been struggling, I pray that today is a brand new day, that it's a do-over, it's a start-over date for many marriages in our church today. That we're going to start doing marriage your way, God, not our way anymore. Our way hasn't worked, your way will work. So God, give us the courage to do it. For men, give us the courage to be the godly men that you've called us to be bold, to lead, to have character and integrity, to meet our wives' needs. For the wives and women in this room, God, I pray that they would honor their husbands as they would Jesus. God, that they would put our needs before they put their own, God. But Lord, that's your plan, that two servants in love would be the greatest marriage that we could ever see. Lord, let us model marriage the way you intend it to be, because the world is watching. And God, our families are depending on it. So as we hold ourselves together today, God, and we stand in a room, whether our spouse is with us or not, God, give us the courage to recommit our lives and our marriages to you today in the name of Jesus. And everybody said, amen. Listen, I want to let you go, but I got to tell you something real quick. I failed to do this in the first service. Many of you know we have been looking for a worship pastor for months now. God has been faithful to provide people like Chasten and others week to week. We have finally hired a worship pastor that will start next Sunday. Corey Welch will be here with us next Sunday as our worship pastor in the 9:30 and the 11 o'clock service. He'll be with us then. So we're happy about that. Yep. Excuse me. Corey was with us last Sunday, if you weren't here. A great guy, brings a lot to the table, a great couple. And some of you that have been here maybe know that Slater Kosick was one of the guys. We were looking at Slater and Corey, and man, it was just, honestly, it was the hardest decision we've ever had to make as leadership. We are begging Slater, pleading with him. I won't say who, but a couple of people the other night got on their knees and begged him to come back and be a part of the team. And we're praying that he will. And we are also praying, she doesn't know it, we're also praying that Chasten is going to move to Jasper and be part of our team as well. So that means all you guys need to be praying for all three of them. What an amazing team. Could you imagine with all of them coming together? What an amazing worship team. Man, I'm telling you, that'll set this community on fire. So just listen, we want to, if you can, guys, be here next week so we can welcome Corey's first Sunday here at the church and get started on the next season of Living Word Church. So God bless you guys. Hey, we'll see you next week.